How much will my Social Security drop if I quit work today? All right, so this nice lady named, hold on just a second, we're going to find the email from, I think it was Kathy, but don't hold me to that. We will find out right now. It's Carrie. So Carrie says, I just turned 64 and plan to retire in April of next year. I plan on taking Social Security at my full retirement age, which for her would be 66 in 10 months. I currently make about $100,000 a year. At my FRA, full retirement age, my PIA, that's your primary insurance amount. Your PIA is the actual dollars you get at your FRA, which is the day you turn 67, or in this case 66 in 10 months, your full retirement age. So at my FRA, my benefit will be about $28.80. Will I get that amount, or I'll get a smaller amount since I stopped working? All right, so let's dive into this. This is actually an easy one. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you two, and I don't know how much, well, I guess she said how much she made, $100,000. We're just going to use $50,000 a month here. So we're going to say Miss Carrie's making $50,000 a year. She's making $50,000 a year. All right, so remember, Social Security, they take your top 35 indexed years of earnings. The index is based on average wage index. So they take your top 35 of those. And then what they do is they say, okay. And so remember, what that simply means, like I always say, when I was at Vanguard in 1998, I think, I was made like $18,000, $20,000, something like that. Well, if I only got $20,000 in my for how they calculate my Social Security would not be very big, because I wasn't making that $18,000 is not the same as $18,000 today. Does that make sense? $18,000 in 1998 bought a hell of a lot more than $18,000 today. All right, that's just fact. So what they do is they adjust that $18,000 with the average wage index, and they say, okay, based on your earliest year of eligibility, which is when I turned 62, we're going to adjust that $18,000 based on your year of birth, essentially, is really what it is, to reflect the increases in the average wage index. So let's just say, for simplicity, that $18,000 is adjusted to $50,000, all right? So for simplicity, $17,000 in 1970, 1997, $18,000 in 1998, $19,000 in 1999, all that equals $50,000 in today's dollars. That makes sense? I hope that makes sense. Again, the previous years of Social Security are adjusted to reflect today's dollars, essentially. I probably could have said that earlier, but it just hit me right now. So we're going to say I made no more. I made $18,000, $19,000, $20,000, which is $50,000 in today's dollars with the average wage index, all right? So we're going to say I made that for 35 years. I got no pay raise. I got no pay reduction. All that has been averaged $50,000 a year for 35 years. So we take those $50,000, we times by 35, because the Social Security, they take your top 35 years of your average wage index, all right? So if I made $50,000 for 40 years, it would not matter, because 5 of those years do not get included in my Social Security benefit. So when you're working, a lot of people don't recognize this. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme, no other way around that. I mean, that's just a fact. But don't forget, you're adding to that Ponzi scheme if you work beyond those 35 years. Now, there's reasons to work beyond the 35 years, but for Social Security purposes, all you're doing is you're paying the taxes that are going to somebody else, because they take your top 35 years of average wage index. So we take our 35 years of our top 35. We're going to say we have 50,000 is the average for those years, and we got 1.75 million. That's how much our total wages were if we index them for inflation, essentially. So our total indexed earnings was 1.75. Now we divide that by 420. Why? Because 35 years is our top 35 years. 35 times 12, there's 420 months in 35 years, because we're trying to find our AIME, our average index monthly earnings, our AIME. This is our total index earnings, but we don't need that. We're trying to get a monthly Social Security benefit, our average index monthly earnings. So we take our total indexed earnings, divide by 420, and we got 4,166 is our AIME. Now, that's not our Social Security benefit, because we have these things called bend points. And these bend points haven't changed for many moves. Now, these bend points this right here hasn't. They've always stayed the same. So these bend points, this is the dollar amount, have been adjusted for inflation 0.9, 0.32, and then anything I think is over $6,000 is 0.15. But anyway, for this case, we just care about the first 2 bend points. So in 2023, our first bend point is $1,100. So we take $1,100 and so this bend point has changed in terms of dollar amount. The percentages haven't changed. And what I would say to give middle-class people a boost in Social Security, I would raise the second bend point to like 50 or 60% even. That's what I would do. So you don't have to reduce Bill Gates' earnings. You just got to increase other people's earnings, but that's how you do this, man. You increase their second bend point. Now, let me show you how this works. So our first bend point is 0.90. So we take our $1,100, times that by 0.90. That's how much we actually earn in Social Security benefit. We don't earn this right here. We earn a fraction of that. So our first $1,100, we get 90% of that, which is $990. All right. Our next amount, in this case, we don't need to go above 6,000 or whatever it is right now for the third bend point. I think it's like 6,000. I could be wrong, but in this case, we don't care. So we take $1,100, subtracted by subtract that by 4,166, and we get left with, if my math is correct, 3,066. So the second bend point is 3,066. We times that by 0.32. We're only making about a third of that second bend point. So we're making 90% of the first bend point, basically a third of the second bend point, and an eighth of the third bend point. So here we got $3,066 times by 32%, which gives us $981. All right. So we take these two numbers and we add them together. That right there is our PIA, our primary insurance amount, how much we're going to get when we hit our full retirement age. And Carrie's age is 66 and 10 months. All right. Again, that's for 35 years of labor, all with adjusted income at $50,000 a year. Now, let's say old Carrie says, you know, I'm not working. I'm quitting at 60. I'm not even going to go to 65. I'm going to quit at 60. So now we have 30 years of $50,000. So we have 5 less years of labor. All right. We got 1.5 million because 30 years times $50,000 is 1.5 million. But we still divide that by 420. Even though we only have 30 years, we have 35 years, they're both divided by 420. So that means we have 5 years of goose eggs. 5 years of goose eggs. So one of the ways to increase our benefit is to work a couple more years, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be worth it, Frank. I'll show you. So $50,000 a year of income, again, that's adjusted, that's indexed income to keep up with inflation essentially, times 30 years. Our total indexed earnings is 1.5 mil. All right. Divide that by 420. This right here is our AIME, 3,571. About $500, maybe even close to $600 less than this right here. All right. So how do we figure this out? So we have, you're going to say, oh my goodness, our Social Security is going to be so much lower than before. Yeah, it won't be. I'll show you why. Because we take our first 1,100 smackaroonies, and that gives us $990. Now we take, I got to get my calculator for this. Let me pause this real quick. So we take 3,571, subtract by 1,100. So 3,571, subtract by 1,100. That gives us 2,471, all right? 2,471 times 0.32 equals times 0.32, 790. So we add these two together, 990 plus 790, and we're going to get, did I get that right? We got, I got 780 over there, I don't get that. 1,580. Let me just make sure I got my math right. For some reason I put 1,780 over there. I must have fat fingered something here. So anyway, so what's happening here is, let me just make sure I got that right. We got 3,571 minus 1,100, 24, yeah, that's right, times 0.32 plus 990. Yeah, so this, I'm getting 1,780 again. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, what did I do there? 990 plus 790, yeah, 1,780. So it is 1,780. 2,471 times 0.32, yeah, 790. Okay, I don't know what I was, I must have fat fingered something there. I don't know what I did, but anyway. So I did it 3 times, so that's right. So 990, and again, how do we figure this out? We just take our first $1,100 times by 0.9, gives us 990, and let's just make sure that's right. 1,100 times 0.9, yeah, 990. All right, so 3,571 minus 1,100 equals 2471, yeah, times 0.32, 790 plus 990. Yeah, 1780. So I don't know how I screwed that up. But anyway, it was 1780, just like I said. All right, so we got 1780 is our PIA. And again, the PIA is simply the amount we get at our full retirement age. So the difference between these two, we got 1971 minus 1780 is less than $200 a month, excuse me. So it's less than $200 a month. So I guess what we do is by 191 a month. And you can say basically almost $2,400 a year. All right, so for you working these extra 5 years, you're going to get an extra $2,400, give or take, a year for an extra 5 years of some crappy old job. And everyone's going to say, and if I see you saying it on this, I'm going to just laugh, because this is just how Social Security works. They're going to say, oh, but you're forgetting about how much more you could put into your 401k. I get all that. I get all that. That's not what this video is for. This video is just to show you this is how Social Security works. The lady asked me if she quits working at 64, how much will her Social Security be reduced? And I just showed you right here. It'll be reduced by $191 a month if she quit working 5 years earlier. So the point, if she's making $100,000 a year, man, you know what I'm saying? And she's been making $100,000 a year for a significant number of years. It's almost like the law of large numbers, by the way. She has so much already in reserves in terms of her overall indexed earnings that an extra year or two isn't going to make a difference. I mean, a little bit. We're talking a couple bucks a month, and we're not talking a huge amount. Now, you can go on SSA.gov and figure this out for yourself. You can say, I'm Carrie. I'm going to go on SSA.gov. I'm going to say, hey, if I quit working today, what will my benefit be? You can put zeros for your future earnings. I can almost guarantee her benefit will be significantly close to the same as what it was, even if she quit working at 64 as opposed to 65. It's just not going to be a big deal. Now, one of the things we'll get here is the least amount of years you work, all right, the less this will be, which means the less your AIME will be. Now, some people have significant earnings. You know, it might be that's where the max kind of hurts them a little bit. Like me, I'm self-employed. Some years I make a lot of money, some years I don't make much money. So the years you make a lot of money, because the max a cap is that what that does is it caps my taxable earnings, which caps my total index earnings. And that's fine. I like that. I mean, I pay enough taxes as it is. But sometimes you're like a realtor or something like that, and you made a lot of money in 2020, 2021. Now you're not making much because there's no houses for sale. So what that does is makes your 2023 earnings very low, but your 2021 and 22 earnings, or probably 2020, 2021, were through the roof. But because they're through the roof, they're capped at like 150 or whatever it is. So you're not getting the benefit of having mass amounts of earnings in the years where you made a lot of money, because you have caps on Social Security. And that's a drawback, no other way around that. But so if that realtor had, a couple years of making, we'll just say 500,000, only 150 is in here, because the other 350 is not subject to Social Security tax. It is subject to Medicare tax, but not Social Security. So it is what it is, man. I mean, that's one of the drawbacks about the current system, but I like it because I don't want to pay an extra 6.2%. And as I'm self-employed, that's an extra 12.4% on my total earnings as above the cap. But anyway, so let's just say you have 30 years of 50,000, and now you get 5 years of 100,000. So now we get another. So we got 30 years of 50,000. Now we're going to add 100,000 times 5 years. That's another $500,000, and this will be $2 million. You see what I'm saying? So 2 million divided by 420 will give us 2 million divided by 420 will give us 4761. 4761. All right, so we go 3571 by 4761. 4761. We come over here. We do the same thing. 4761. The first 1100 is 9900. We go 4761 minus 1100 equals 3. What's that? 661 times 0.32 equals, I need my calculator for that, 3661 times 0.32. Anybody know what that is? We go, 3661 times 0.32. That's 1171. 1171, all right? 1171 plus 990, and that's going to give us plus 9 90, 116, that's 10, 11, 2161. All right, so those extra 5 years of making double this income gave us all a benefit of, what's that, about 190 more. That's it, again, so we worked an extra 5 years. We filled up these zeros right here for 5 years. We had 5 years of zeros. You know, maybe we're freaking busting our butts, some crappy old job, listening to all the freaking DEI, how bad white people are, you know, Christians are evil, all that stuff. But I need to get my Social Security benefit higher. Okay, sister. It went from 1971 to 2161. Was that worth it? About $200. That's it. Yeah. But I had to take the jab 5 times to keep my job. I had to listen to, you know, white people are evil stuff. Yeah. For $200 a month. Yeah. I don't think that's worth it. No, it's not worth it. It's not. Especially we could have done something else. I mean, if you got 50,000 instead of 100,000, we know you'd be right here. I tell you, once you've accumulated enough in your total indexed total earnings, it's like trying to turn a battleship on a dime. It doesn't happen. This is the battleship. That's the battleship. It's hard to enhance that much because you've already accumulated so much of index earnings. Now, I hope this helps. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We're going to go live on Locals on Wednesday. If you have topics you want me to talk about, happy to hear about it. And then we'll go live on YouTube next Saturday. And we won't be going live this Saturday on YouTube or Locals, but we'll be on Locals next Wednesday and live on YouTube on Saturday. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.